Tsogo Sun is the largest hotel and gaming group on the JSE. It was formed through the merger of Gold Reef Casinos, Tsogo and Southern Suns in 2011. It has a market cap of 24 billion rand, a dividend yield of 3% and a price to earnings ratio of 15. Now Tsogo Sun, Paul, it's got a bit of a mixture, hotel and gaming there. With a price to earnings ratio of 15, is this one to go into?
Well, it's the largest player in this industry now. And just to unpack the roots, Gold Reef was listed for a long time. That's the one that owned the Gold Reef Casino and also the Silver Star Casino, which is just up the road from where you live,
indeed,
I know.
Indeed.
Fabulous place.
Yeah.
In any event, they somehow or other managed to get the competition authorities to let them merge with Tsogo Group, which was controlled by HCI and by Southern Suns, which was the South African Breweries Group. So SAB basically bought Southern Suns and then got into this sort of thing, and their flagship asset is Monte Casino. So somehow in Joburg, if you want to go and gamble, you're either going north, south or west, you're going to end up in one of their places. So they've got that. It's 24 billion market cap, sizable player, and it's got a number of properties also around the country. You know, all of the ones that you can think of, Golden Horse, all that kind of stuff in Maritzburg. They are the guys that own these licenses.
So Tsogo Sun recently bought the Grace Hotel last October for about 85 million rand. Is that a good investment?
No, look, they definitely have to be commended, in my view, for taking that business up, the hotel. I don't know, though, if they're going to be able to get enough traffic to go there in Grace Hotel. That's another debate. But it adds nicely to their mix in terms of how the business is structured, etc. Like Paul said, you know, in KZN, you'll find them in Joburg. You're going to find a casino owned by the group, you know, whether it's Monte Casino or Gold Reef or Silver Star, etc. But I think the purchase of the hotel, I just really hope they're going to manage to be able to make that work.
To make that work, your thoughts on that?
I think the location for me is a bit of a challenge, actually.
Yeah.
And there's quite a lot of fresh stuff coming up everywhere, and to get that hotel for me from making this a challenge. Yeah.
Okay.
Look, these places though do well. I mean, it's amazing. I mean, Monte Casino is commercially very, very successful because it's a sort of destination. You know, Joburg, this is Joburg. We don't have any sea here. We don't have any mountains. We don't even have any nice parks. So what are you going to do on the weekends if you've got people visiting from town? You're going to go sit in the fake warehouse at Monte Casino, which looks like an Italian villa, and, you know, have a plate of chips at the So, I mean, there's that. I think the sites are always a challenge. You know, 85 million rand, I think, to get the Grace, which is in Rosebank. Now, Rosebank is an interesting node because the mall there is a bit tired, but there's now a Gautrain station. So that's kind of bringing in a whole lot of new buildings. So I think that could actually be quite well timed. The hotel game is all about occupancies.
Indeed, yeah.
What Tsogo does, though, should be pointed out, is they don't typically own the properties that those Southern Suns and Holiday Inns and so on are in. They often have a management relationship with the building, and they pay a rental and they manage the hotel, and some other pension fund or some other sort of long-term property investor owns the building. So, I mean, over the years, this has been a very profitable, solid profit contributor to South African breweries. For me, the only drawback with the stock is the illiquidity, because basically HCI, which is the same group that owns ETV and which has Johnny Copeland and Marcel Golding at the helm, they own like 37-38% of it. South African Breweries owns 37-38% of it. Neither of those parties seem like they want to do anything with it. So the liquidity, the traded value average in the market for a company of this scale is very poor. You know, it's very little compared to where it should be.
Talking about illiquidity, can we look at the share price at this stage? Owen, Paul did mention illiquidity, but looking at the price now, is it time to get in, or you just hold out for now?
No, look, we've done some trades in the name around 18. And, you know, as you can see, he's done quite a ride. But I think he's meeting some overhead resistance at $22. There is a little bit of selling. Liquidity is definitely an issue. As much as I think it's really hot stock, I think I'll only be buying it if it does pull back. So liquidity remains an issue, definitely.
Okay, but what should be pointed out is that in this period, it was the old Gold Reef, right? And then in the process here, basically what happens is Gold Reef, the listed entity, issues a massive number of shares to the parties that own Tsogo and Southern Suns, which then creates a massively larger company. So, you know, it's now taken a while for it to grow into its new form because there are now many more shares in issue, but obviously it got valuable assets that have solid earnings. So I think we're kind of in a process here of establishing where the earnings are And there is an economic recovery going on. Things are starting to look up economically, so that's why the share price has risen.
The optimist is coming out here.
Yeah, no, always.
Okay, if you look at Tsogo Sun, are you hot or not?
Yeah, I love the stock. I love the stock. I love the diversification of the operations in it. I love the fact that they're highly cash generative as well. And I think in an environment like we're experiencing globally in terms of economics, you need business like this that's got a defensive element to it. So that's why I'll be a player in the stock.
So hot there. Paul, hot or not in this one?
You know, I'm not a big fan of the gaming and gambling sector generally. I think it is sensitive to levels of government taxation. So, you know, it just feels to me like not the sort of industry you want to be investing in. So I'm going to go with not hot.
Yeah, Paul. So one hot and one not on Tsogo Sun.